couldn't speak with my friends about it. No family. This is the worst experience I've ever survived or lived through.
We've got a predatory offender looking for victims who are drunk in order to sexually offend against them whilst they're incapacitated. Little Barton is a small village in West Oxfordshire. It's a sleepy village. Not a lot happens. This was out of the ordinary.
On the 10th of November last year, a man in the village was helping someone he knew with a DIY project.
He was helping do some maintenance work on the property and sat on the floor. They got there quite late at night. He was offered a couple of shots of Jägermeister.
It knocked me out. Instantly, like in 10 minutes. I was really tired, feeling like I needed to lay down because I couldn't stand on my feet.
The next thing he knew, he was being sexually assaulted.
I woke up in the middle of the night as well. That's how I saw what he was doing. I couldn't speak. I just tried to mumble.
He's aware of what's going on, but he has no control over his arms and legs at all, and feels utterly powerless. The next morning, he notices a small syringe on the worktop in the kitchen. He thinks perhaps something's been administered to his drink. I think he realised that he had been spiked with something.
I couldn't sleep for like days in a row, like 6-7 days in a row. I didn't sleep. I was going to lose my mind. You want to digest it, but you can't.
A week later, the victim felt strong enough to go to the police.
So the victim knew the abuser. He was Luiz de Silva Neto.
De Silva Neto lived in London, but ran a bed and breakfast in Little Barton. Detectives began to investigate, but just a month later, on the 10th of December, they got reports of another attack.
The complaint came from a male in his early 30s, who'd been married for a very short time, who'd been out with colleagues the night before in a nightclub in Chelsea in London. He's trying to get home to his wife. We've got CCTV footage of him trying to get a taxi. We know he's tried to book an Uber. However, he wakes up probably around 10 o'clock the following morning in this unfamiliar house, in this unfamiliar room, 2 hours drive away from home, with no recollection of how he's got there. All he can remember is somebody, a male, holding a little tumbler of a dark liquid to his mouth and trying to encourage him to drink it.
With him in the house is a man he doesn't recognise.
He fears he's been the victim of a serious sexual assault, and when he gets home to his wife, he discloses that, and concerned for his sexual health, he goes to hospital to be checked.
He'd been sexually assaulted. When he told the police, they tried to establish where exactly the attack had taken place. The victim told them his attacker had booked him a taxi home.
Making inquiries with the taxi company corroborated for us that it was exactly the same location as that other offence had taken place.
That location was the bed and breakfast in Little Barton, run by Luiz de Silva Neto.
We've got two straight men who have both encountered this guy. They've both been given a drink, and they've both suffered effects consistent with being spiked. We realise we've got a series emerging now, and we need to act fast to do something about this, to prevent this guy offending against anybody else.
On December the 12th, 2 days after the second report, De Silva Neto was arrested at his main address in London.
All right, Luiz, if you listen to me, put your trousers on. So at this point in time, you're under arrest.
And when he's arrested and his house is searched, we found a wash bag in the bathroom with a number of small bottles and little straws in it.
The liquid was sent for testing and came back as the substance GBL, a well-known date rape drug.
It's a very, very dangerous drug indeed. The body metabolises this drug extremely quickly through the liver. It's very difficult for law enforcement agencies to be able to demonstrate an overdose of it. So we believe GBL is probably the drug that he'd used to spike the victims.
But in custody, Da Silva Neto denied any wrongdoing. He claimed the GBL was something he used himself recreationally, and that the men who visited his home had not been intoxicated.
But he seems absolutely fine when I met him. He was not drunk or drunk. Fine. Asking for kisses and, cuddles and stuff.
But when police searched his phone, the truth about the second attack began to emerge.
His phone gave us a wealth of different information. It showed us there were a number of videos which he'd taken earlier on in the evening. In fact, he went into 5 pubs in about 8 minutes. He'd gone straight into the toilets. He'd waited in the toilets for men to come in and use the urinals. He'd filmed them. He's trying to identify a victim who's intoxicated enough for him to prey upon. We have a photograph from his phone of our victim, from the neck down, completely naked, and also videos of our victim, and we can tell that he's incoherent.
Further digging revealed that Da Silva Neto had used an app to hire a car on the night of the attack.
That company are able to give us some fantastic data. They can give us the location of a vehicle, and they can give us the speed of that vehicle every couple of minutes.
It revealed that Da Silva Neto had driven the man to an address in London before taking him to Middle Barton. The victim had no recollection of these hours.
Which corroborates really the impact of a spiking of a drug that's been administered to him. And that was extremely useful in terms of being able to prove that intoxication.
In July, a jury found Luiz Da Silva Neto guilty of administering a substance with intent to allow sexual activity and rape. He was sentenced to 22 years.
I have to live with it for the rest of my life. I need to lay in a cold bathtub just to try and calm myself down. I just can't deal with it.
The impact of sex offences on our victims is massive. What this guy's been doing is targeting straight men. And he's probably targeting straight men because he thinks straight men are particularly unlikely to go to the police about it. In this case, these two guys both had the guts to do exactly that, which is how we've been able to hold him to account for his behaviour.